State Deputy Governor commends the youth for supporting the government. Akwa Ibom International Airport gets a new managing director. Well, directors of administration in ministries are blamed for poor work attendance by workers. This will be in other stories in just a moment. Good morning and welcome to KBC 45 News at dawn. I am Miriam Ikbutu. Youths in the state have been promised to continue to contribute to the development and growth of the state. Youth under the aegis of Forum of Chapter Secretaries, National Youth Council of Nigeria, made this known when they visited the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, in his office. Patience John reports that the guests also bestowed an award of commendation on the Deputy Governor.
Has as its objectives to mobilize youth for development programs in the country, as well as voice on national issues, especially as they affect youth. The Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, who hosted them in his office, acknowledged the support to the state government in suit for more. He said as future leaders, they are expected to be gathered with virtues that will distinguish them in the future as leaders. The Deputy Governor thanked the youth for the visit and asked them to always work for the interests of the state.
He hasn't left any stone unturned to ensure the youth are solidly part of his plans and consequently part of his achievements and the achievements of this government. So I'm not surprised that the vibrancy in our youth in this state is taking us higher and higher.
The State Coordinator Forum of Chapter Secretaries of the NYCN, Comrade Signal Ine, expressed gratitude to Governor Udom Emmanuel for appointing Mr. Nyefiok Iwa Udofia as a special assistant on youth matters and for putting up training programs in different areas for the youths. The call for assistance from the state government to enable them host their guidance and counseling program scheduled for November and December this year.
As a group, we have strived to identify role models that are working with integrity and good professional track record. We are happy to serve with you today as one of our very illustrious persons who have distinguished himself even before you are nomination as Deputy Governor.
In a related development, the executive members of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State, during a visit to the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, have pledged to partner other security agencies to curb crime in the state. Led by the State Commandant, Apostle Chris Nyong, the group said it will also work to protect infrastructure provided by the state government against vandals. Apostle Nyong said the Vigilante Group is an informal community policing entity spread across the 36 states of the Federation and draws membership from all villages in the state. The call for welfare packages and other logistics to enable them discharge their responsibilities.
Our motto, which is say no to crime, is strictly adhered to by us. With a level of collaboration and synergy with other security agencies, we trust that soon criminal hideouts in Akwa Ibom State must be eliminated and crime rate drastically reduced to the barest minimum.
Reacting, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, who appreciated the role of security in development, said the state government is attuned to utilizing all legitimate facilities to enhance security of the state. The Deputy Governor thanked them for working towards combating crime in the state.
Nobody will want to invest his money in any lawless society. A society that does not guarantee protection. And I think that's what security is all about. We're going to intimate the government and see how you must be part and parcel of the arrangement within that organization, so that your needs and whatever you need to be able to carry out your responsibilities can be streamlined from that point of view.
Patience John reporting.
A new managing director has been appointed for Akwa Ibom International Airport. She is Mrs. Joanna Swiggers from South Africa. Mrs. Swiggers was received by the Commissioner for Special Duties, Engineer Tidiyam. Mrs. Swiggers has worked as an airport manager in Namibia, Netherlands, Singapore, South Africa, and China. Iyanopo reports that a new consultant, Aerospace Management Services Nigeria Limited, is to work hand in hand with the new airport managing director.
Receiving the new managing director of the Ibom International Airport, the Commissioner for Special Duties, Engineer Tidiyam, said in line with the Dakada initiative, the governor had to restructure the airport to boost revenue generation in the state. Engineer Yang said the restructuring is to reduce reliance of the airport on the state government, to get international best practice and provide world-class services, and to develop talented Akwa Ibomites to be competent to manage the airport. The 3-year contract, the Commissioner noted, is to advise the airport management and the state government on restructuring process with reference to matters related to organization, operational efficiency, cost reduction, revenue generation, activation of the MRO facility, and a review of the airport master plan.
His Excellency Udom Emmanuel, in his quest, reorganizing agencies and companies owned by the state. This is one of the arms, the airports, which he has decided to restructure, completely, to be able to have reasonable, performance in the sense that we must not fail at the airport. Safety consciousness has to come alive, security situations have to come alive, and then revenue drive. The government should not solely fund the airport.
The new managing director of Akwa Ibom International Airport, Mrs. Joanna Swiggers, lauded the state government for the confidence reposed on her, saying she has had many years of experience in airport management across the globe. Mrs. Swiggers said to achieve effective results, honesty, consistency, and equality must be the watchword of workers, ensued for cooperation from the government, consultants, and the entire workers.
I have an open door policy. You can come and see me anytime. You may have to just make sure that I'm there, but my door is open to anybody. I won't always have the answers for you. I don't know everything. The more I learn, the more I realize how little I still know.
The aerospace consultant, the airport project coordinator Marco Fenini, the manager Deacon Ezafiong, and a representative of the staff promised their full cooperation to the new managing director.
We're here is one to try and ensure that the airport operates as a viable entity.
It's important to work together with a goal, with a target. And I believe the target here is very big now, because the change as made is in a positive way.
I'm happy you're here. Many things I have cried out for will now be made available because you are here.
We are hoping that one day things will be improved. And this is just the beginning.
Other agencies of the airport, including NEMA, also pledged to work in tandem with the new management of the airport. Iyanopo reporting.
The State Civil Service Monitoring Committee has blamed directors of administration and heads of units for not supervising staff attendance at work. The chairman of the committee, Mrs. Enofyong, met the blamed when she led members on monitoring visit to the State Civil Service Commission, Ministry of Lands and Town Planning, Bureau of Labor, Productivity and Public Service Matters, Ministry of Rural Development, the General Service Office, and Office of the Head of Civil Service. The report is presented in our studios.
Mrs. Afion said in a situation where the directors come late for work, they do not have any moral justification to query their subordinates for exhibiting less than fair attitude to duty. The chairman urged internal monitoring committees in the various ministries, departments and agencies to redouble their efforts by closely monitoring their staff attitude to duty. She suggested that the attendance register be cross-checked daily in addition to physical inspection of offices at regular intervals to forestall a situation where a staff signs the attendance register and disappears thereafter.
In almost all the offices that we've gone around since we came here about 8 a.m., we have not seen any excessive times. So I am still appealing to the heads of departments, cabinet secretaries, and directors of admin, most importantly, to have a grip of staff and to also exercise some level of discipline so that staff will see the need of coming to work on time.
Speaking on dressing, a member of the committee and permanent secretary State Budget Office, Pastor Nicholas Ekarika, said the committee was not impressed with the way officers dress to work. Pastor Ekarika reminded heads of administration to bring the contents of the head of civil service circular on dress code to the attention of every staff, especially the newly employed.
I don't know what has happened today. Came in as if they are just coming out of their bedroom, not knowing that they are in government offices. They needed to dress well.
On office sanitation, another member, Mrs. Stella Etoakpan, Permanent Secretary General Services Office, decried the unkept situation in most offices, caused mostly by hawking of wares in the offices by civil servants. Mrs. Etoakpan advised workers to patronize officially designated outlets for refreshment within the secretariat complex, warning that officers and other persons in the habit of hawking wares and food items in the government offices risk sanctions.
The state government has done so much. They have opened canteens at the secretariat where civil servants should go there and eat and even buy snacks and eat there. We have told the director of admin to inform the permanent secretary and that such things should be discouraged in the ministry.
Meanwhile, the committee has commended the state government for enabling the permanent secretary, General Services Office, and her colleague in the budget office to give the governor's office annex a first lift. The committee was informed that government was working assiduously to re-roof the entire complex to check the problem of leakages currently experienced in some of the offices. Records show that as at 10 minutes after 8, when the team arrived at the State Secretariat complex, most offices were yet to be opened.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists at Akwa Ibom State Council has observed with dismay the activities of some state-based newspapers which publish false and misleading stories against public functionaries. In a communique at a meeting with editors and publishers, the union noted the deliberate attempt by such newspapers to disparage and blackmail the state governor, Mr. Domi Manuel. It reiterated that every member should adhere strictly to the ethics of the profession in their reportage and avoid sensationalism or being used against any individual or group. The communique called on individuals and groups who may feel maligned by any publication to or report to channel their complaints to appropriate quarters, such as the Ethics and Disciplinary Committee of the State NUJ and the Nigerian Press Council at the national level, or seek outright redress in a court of law. It called on government media managers to always be proactive in information management, especially regarding government policies and programs to enrich news feeds as well as interferes with the media on programs and policies of government to avoid speculative reports. It also called on government and security agencies to respect the constitutional role of journalists in the gathering and dissemination of information in the interest of public peace and order. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, I'm going to stay with us. It's good to have you back. Law students from 10 universities in the country are converging on the University of Uyo for the 5th International Humanitarian Law Moot Court Competition. The event, put together by the International Committee of the Red Cross ICRC at the Faculty of Law, Town Campus, University of Uyo Annex, was declared open by the Vice Chancellor, University of Uyo, Professor Comfort Ekpo. Etienne Ibanga watched the competition and filed this report.
Funds are drawn from faculties of law of Bayero University, Kano, Lagos State University, Rivers State University, Obafemi Awolowo University, and Benson Idahosa University. Others are the University of Benin, University of Abuja, University of Maiduguri, University of Jos, and the host, the University of Uyo. The event opened, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, Comfortable, thanked the ICRC for granting the University of Uyo the hosting right for the 5th Annual International Humanitarian Law Moot Court Competition. Represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Trench Adibia, the Vice Chancellor noted that the competition exposed students and participants to international humanitarian law. The University of Uyo, she said, will continue to give education to healthy competition among students.
The university is a training ground by way of continuous training, by way of interest, by way of calling, depending on the interest, by way of research. As the students and the graduates go out into society, they have to be into national policy and national programs and follow international programs.
The Dean, Faculty of Law, University of Uyo, Enefiok Essien, explained that the moot court is designed for law students to compete by putting forward arguments on an hypothetical case or a case that has already been decided by an actual court. The law from the 10 universities will be divided into 5 courts with law professors from universities as judges. He expressed the hope that the competition will assist students to analyze legal issues, thereby exposing them to the side of law.
The essence of international humanitarian law in terms of law is to discriminate between civilians and military targets. So these are the things that are being talked about. To inculcate the spirit of international humanitarian law, because by that way you are going to have the law of mankind.
The communications coordinator of the International Committee of the Red Cross ICRC, Mr. Dennis Benzedi, described as an impartial and independent humanitarian organization aimed at protecting and assisting disaster victims. He said the winning university will represent Nigeria at an international competition in Tanzania.
Why we are different from other organizations, and also the fact that we have the status of the Red Crescent movement, the fact that we have our fundamental principles make us quite distinct from other organizations.
The Executive Secretary, National Commission for Colleges of Education, Professor Monday Joshua, has flagged up the personnel training for multi-media micro-teaching laboratories in Akwa Ibom State College of Education. Professor Joshua said the program is to train teachers of College of Education in the country who will facilitate learning for students to be ICT compliant. Eyarenopo reports that the multimedia micro-teaching laboratory was erected and equipped by the federal government in colleges of education.
The federal government is committed to improving the standard of education, mostly in tertiary education in the country. It is against this backdrop that the federal government graciously approved funds for the construction and equipping of the state-of-the-art multimedia micro-teaching laboratories in all the federal and state colleges of education in the country. Flagging of the training of the personnel of the laboratory and the State College of Education, Afagan said, the Executive Secretary of NCCE, Professor Monday Joshua said colleges of education are tasked with the responsibility of preparing teachers in the 21st century that are intermediated by pervasive technologies. According to Professor Joshua, there is need for teachers of the colleges to be exposed to ICT gadgets, which informed the federal government's commitment in the multimedia laboratories. The training, he noted, is 3 teachers in each college, adding that Afagan City is the center for the colleges in the South-South geopolitical zone and that there are 6 training centers in the country. He charged those that will be trained to make good use of the laboratory and teach others. To the students of the college, the executive secretary advised them to study hard, intimating them that he is a product of College of Education.
A total of 55 colleges of education, including the Nigerian Army School of Education in Ilorin, including the Akwa Ibom State College of Education of France, have benefited from this kind gesture of the federal government. That facility should be put to its maximum use.
The provost of the college, Dr. Patrick Uko, lauded the executive secretary, whom he said is the first Akwa Ibomite in the South-South to clinch that position for his maiden visit to the college after assumption of office, and also congratulated him on the appointment. Dr. Uko also appreciated the federal government for finding College of Education of Aranset fit for the training in the South-South, adding that the college is 25 years since inception, with over 3,000 students, 22 departments, and 6 schools. He said the college is now affiliated to the University of Uyo for the award of degrees and promised to make good use of the multimedia micro-teaching laboratory.
I readily convey to the federal government the happy gratitude of management staff and students of the institution for this kind gesture. The choice of this college as the center for the training of participants in the South-South Zone is indeed a mark of great honor.
Also speaking, a member of the college community, architect Jerry Akman, thanked the federal government for the laboratory and also congratulated the executive secretary, which he noted is from Afaganset, for his appointment. The executive secretary later commissioned the already furnished laboratory and also handed over the key to the edifice to the provost.
It is my singular privilege to stand on behalf of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to formally hand over this building and the state-of-the-art equipment to the administration of the Akwa Ibom State College of Education, represented by the provost.
Iyageno Paul reporting.
President Muhammadu Buhari has called on British and Swiss governments to speed up the investigation on looted public funds that were transferred to foreign accounts. The Nigerian Football Federation confirms a resolution of misunderstanding in the camps of the Super Eagles in Belgium. Mercia Kere tells us more about this and more in our national and foreign news segment.
Muhammadu Buhari has applauded Britain and Switzerland for their renewed support for the recovery and repatriation of public funds stolen from Nigeria. Buhari said that British, Swiss and other foreign anti-crime agencies had given his administration much help by providing relevant information and intelligence on public funds that were stolen and illegally transferred to personal bank accounts by officials of past administrations. The President has called for the speeding up of investigation and prosecution of offenders. The British High Commissioner, Mr. Paul Arkwright, assured the President of Britain's support and assistance in recovery of looted funds. The Swiss ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Eric Mayoras, on his part, said his country will speed up the repatriation of millions of dollars stolen by Nigerian public officials and still held in Swiss banks. The Nigerian army has said that over 100 Boko Haram terrorists have been killed during an attempt to attack the 120 Task Force Battalion troops in Goniri, Yobe State. 7 soldiers are reported dead, 9 others wounded. The Nigerian army troops are also reported to have recovered arms, ammunition, and other equipment from the terrorists. Army spokesman Sani Usman has reiterated that the Nigerian army, along with the support of the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies, would not relent in its determined efforts of defeating Boko Haram terrorists. The leader of Burkina Faso's last month's short-lived coup d'etat, General Gilbert Diendere, has been charged with crimes including threatening state security, murder, and collusion with foreign forces. Expected to face trial before a military tribunal. A former foreign minister, Jibril Basso, who was also arrested in connection with the coup, has also been charged. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso is due to hold its general elections on Sunday, October 11. The United States authorities have charged a former president of the United Nations General Assembly between 2013 and 2014, John Ash, for engaging in a wide-ranging corruption scheme. The former UN ambassador was accused of taking more than $1.3 million in bribes from Chinese businessmen. 4 other UN ambassadors have been charged as well. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has expressed shock by the allegations and has said that the UN will cooperate if contacted. The Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has confirmed that the misunderstanding in the camp of the Super Eagles in Belgium between Super Eagles coach Sunday Olise and Vincent Enyema has been resolved. The NFF has reverted Olise's decision that Enyema should leave camp and has demanded that Enyema remains with the national team. The Super Eagles are camping in Belgium as they prepare for friendly matches against the Republic of Congo on Thursday, October 8, and Cameroon on Sunday, October 11.
Watch AKBC TV News online by logging onto akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45 Uyo or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45 Uyo. That's our package this morning, but just before we're going to look at the top stories. The State Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Eko, has commended youths in the state for their support to the state government. Mr. Eko made the commendation when youths in the state paid him a visit. We also brought you a report that the Akwa Ibom International Airport has a new managing director. That's our package this morning. Thank you for spending your time with us and have a good
to the faith of greatness. Rise to the faith that with God all things are possible. Rise to the faith that as a people we can move beyond biases, ethnicity, religion, and gender. Rise to togetherness. Rise to chart a new course for us, our children, and a generation of Akwa Ibomites unborn. Hold fast the confession of our hope that without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. Arise to the faith that Akwa Ibom was created to be great.
I arise to the faith that Akwa Ibom is destined to be great.
I am an Akwa Ibomite.
And I arise to the faith of greatness.
Metakanda, Akwa Ibomites, Itakeda.
Akwa Ibom, Dakada.